Good morning, students. You are welcome to the Social Studies class. And today we want to talk about leadership. I know that many of us have been hearing of leaders. But what does it mean to be a leader? Leadership is the process of influencing a group of activities towards achieving a goal. Influencing a group of people to achieve a goal. So what we are saying here is that there are two things that are involved: influence and goal. Meaning, when you are talking of a leader must be a person who is able to influence. He must have influence on those people that is going to lead, and he must have a focus. He must have a vision, having in mind that there is a goal to achieve. So, as a leader, you must first of all be a man of influence, and then you must have a vision that you really want to accomplish. And we have different types of leadership. So, we want to look at the types of leadership. When you are talking of types, there are many ways that you can look at it. We have 5 different types. And the number one is we have family leadership. Number one, we have family leadership. We have community leadership. We have traditional leadership. We have traditional leadership. We have charismatic leadership. Charismatic leadership. And then we have constitutional leadership. Constitutional leadership. All these leadership, they have their various qualities that make them to be. For example, let us look at family leadership. In Yoruba land, the family leader is usually called Olori Ebi, meaning is a person that everybody looks up to. He is able to influence decision in a family and is now able to tend everybody towards achieving a particular goal. It could be as a result of age. In some families, they choose their leaders with age. In most families, the eldest in the family, that person assumes the position of family leadership, and then you realize that such person will have to look at the vision and the goal of a family before he could lead that particular family. And why are they using age? Because an elderly person will have seen more and will have been able to influence other members of the family when it comes to decision making. We have community leadership, and this community leadership comes up as a result of competence. This one is age. This one is competence. We talk of competence in various forms. It could be competence in terms of knowledge. Some community leaders are made because of their knowledge. Maybe that person is a professor or is the most read in that particular community. Or sometimes it could be influential as a result of his wealth. Sometimes it could be wealth. So when they look at him and say, okay, this person, when it comes to development, he has enough money to put into the project, and as a result of that, he's made a community leader. So he's able to influence others, and they are able to achieve a goal. If it is as a result of competence, they can look at a professor and say, okay, this one will be able to go to the ministry talk to people in high places, and then bring development into the community. He may not have money, but he's competent. It could be as a result of the wealth. They know that when they want to develop that particular community, that person can put his money into the project. Then we have traditional leadership, which has to do with hierarchy. It could be through inheritance, it could be through lineage. In most cases, it is as a result of inheritance, because in most families, there are some families that it is in that family they have some things, like you talk of Akogun, you talk of Oba, you talk of Bale, and so on and so forth. They are traditional leaders, and they are made through a particular family. Then we have charismatic leadership. This could be as a result of personal interest, or what you see in a particular person. Most of this charismatic leadership, they come up as a result of their natural gift that is given to them. A lot of people follow their leaders, especially in churches. You see some things that some of the leaders do and other people will copy. So when you see such thing, then you talk of charismatic leaders. Some people, it might be as a result of their oratory. They can talk and they can make people to follow and believe. That is a charismatic leader. Then we have constitutional leadership. This one follows the constitution, and that is where we have this one follows the constitution. And that is when you talk of election, especially most of our leaders from presidency to chairman of the local government, they are constitutional leaders. They follow the constitution to choose their leaders, and when these leaders are chosen, they have to follow the written down rules and regulations that are in the constitution. So they must not act outside the constitution that is given to them. Unlike all these other ones, they can act outside what is given to them the moment they see that it can be beneficial to them, especially charismatic leader. A charismatic leader can go on and on, change his way of doing things, and people will still follow. So these are the 5 types of leadership that we have. We have the family leadership, which has to do mostly with age. In a family, the eldest in the family, it takes over the mantle of leadership. We have the community leader, who happens to wield influence, maybe as a result of competence. The competence can be in terms of money. He has money to dish into the thing, and because of his money, he can influence and they can achieve a goal. And when we have traditional leadership, which comes as a result of inheritance, and then charismatic and constitutional leadership. About the types of leaders that we have. We talk about traditional leadership, we talk about family leadership, we talk about constitutional leadership, and so on and so forth. Now, this time, we want to talk about leadership styles. Every leader has a way that they rule. Every leader has a method that they use to control their members. And you see, in most cases, most of these styles interlock into each other. They are not, we cannot say that one is the best. Situations and circumstances determine the kind of style that we will use. There are 3 types of leadership styles that we have. We have the democratic leadership, we have the autocratic leadership, and we have the laissez-faire leadership. Now, what is democratic leadership? Democratic leadership is the kind of leadership whereby you involve everybody in decision making. And in this type of leadership, majority always carry the votes. They carry the day. So when you are talking of democratic leadership, you are talking of a leadership through which you are going to throw a decision to the whole house, ask the whole house to decide what to do, and in doing that, you are going to make sure that the majority of the people that constitute that particular vote carries the day. And that is democratic leadership. In democratic leadership, you involve everybody. Everybody is involved. Decision making is not made by only one person. In autocratic leadership, from the word auto, autocrat. An autocrat is somebody that enforces his own opinion on other people. It could be done indirectly or directly. When you talk of direct autocratic leadership, this is a man that comes and tells you, whether you like it or not, this is what we are going to do. And everybody will now have to align. They have to come in and they have to plug in into whatsoever decision that the leadership has made. But when it comes to indirect autocratic leadership, the man has already made up his mind what he was going to do. But he will first of all throw it out, so that you people will think that you are being involved. But at the end of the day, it will end up convincing all of you to follow his own opinion. That is an autocrat or an autocratic leader. So an autocratic leader doesn't involve people in his decision. He would have made up his mind what he really wants to do, and he will just go ahead and do it. When you talk of laissez-faire, a leader that is laissez-faire doesn't care. This laissez-faire means I don't care attitude. Everything goes. A laissez-faire leader will make people to do whatsoever thing they like. Within a space of time, 10 people can be doing 10 things. Different opinions will come in, and it will tell you, pick the one that suits you. That's a laissez-faire leader. That leader does not care whatsoever thing. In such a situation, there is a lot of indiscipline and there is a lot of chaos and commotion, because everybody will want to talk and everybody will want to do illegalities, and nobody cares what really happens. Now, the question is this: which one among these three leadership is the best? When you are asking such a question, you have to be very careful. There is no best way of leading people. All the methods are there. And the funniest thing is that in a singular meeting, you can make use of the three. In a singular meeting, you can make use of two of them. Let's take an example. You come in, let's take a classroom example. You come into the class and then you involve everybody in your class. You ask questions. You allow them to answer. But along the line, being students, some of them will become unruly. Some of them can turn some answers into jokes, and then they turn the class into nothingness. In such a situation, you have to apply autocratic leadership. You have to tell them that in this class, I take charge, and this is what I want. And everybody will keep quiet, and things will go on fine. So within a space of 40 minutes, you might have used the democratic leadership style, and you must have used the autocratic leadership style. When you are using democratic, there is every tendency for some people to take advantage of your being democratic, and everybody will just want to do what concerns them. But when such a situation comes up, then you have to use the autocratic style to bring them and call them to order, to bring them back and then call them to order. Now, what time do you use laissez-faire? In a classroom setting, there are conditions, there are situations. For example, you go to a class in the afternoon when the weather is very, very hot, and you know that these students, they are not going to concentrate. As at that time, they are worn out, and we call something a playway method. Playway method is another way of saying laissez-faire. Let people do what they like. You now look at the situation. You can come in democratically in order to involve all of them, You can now apply autocratic in making them to come to order. But when you discover that the situation is now becoming unbearable, you can now bring in the laissez-faire type. You ask them, oh yeah, two of you do this and that. So you see so many things happening within the class, within the same time, and at the same time, you are equally controlling the class. So looking at all these three, you realize that there is no kind of style that is better. No style is better than the other. You can make use of one, you can make use of two, you can make use of the three of them within a space of time, depending on the situation that you find yourself. So when you are asked that question, which of the leadership styles do you think is the best? The best you can do is that there is none of them that is the best, but all of them are good depending on the time and the situation that they find themselves. Thank you.